Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt over at WallStreetLiveChat.com. It is Thursday, April 18th. So one more day and we can start the weekend. It's been a crazy week, that's for sure. We're swinging 139 points a day. I know it's been a little while since I've done a video. I'll try and get to them every single day. Let's take a look at the Dow real quick. As we were talking about this triple top over here, the last time we knew, we said if it doesn't pierce higher, we were going to start to head lower, and we said that these two candles should be the support. Well, that was an epic fail, and if you notice, we have some nice volume bars also. So we got crushed one day, okay, and the next day we came right back up 139, I think it was that day, and then yesterday we dropped right back down again. Now we're getting more follow through today. After we didn't hold this triple bottom right here, it came down even lower. The selling pressure is pretty good. You know, your MACD's crossed to the downside. You know, your RSI, we're sitting at 48.51 right now. So we still have room to get down a little bit further. I don't see any catalyst that's going to keep us to the upside. What I am looking at for a bounce is a little bit lower here. You know, right around this area. I mean, if you're looking from a technical perspective, this should be the bounce. You have these bottoms right here. You have the 50-day moving average. Okay, so you'll probably get a wick similar to this wick to pierce under the 50-day, and then we'll probably come up and close above the 50-day, the body of the candle, and then we might get a bounce to the upside. How high? That's a very good question. I don't think it's gonna be too high. I think we're gonna have some resistance and then come back down to the downside. It's possible we'd get underneath these, you know, and from here to here, it's a couple hundred points, maybe 2 days worth of popping, and then see if we get follow through. If we get follow through, then we'll come up and head towards this old high up here and get over the 15. But as it stands right now, you know, there's some nice candles for selling. You know, there's no conviction to the upside, so let's ride the downside while we can. Your RSI, usually when it gets down to 30, you know, between 20 and 30, somewhere in that area, depending on how the selling pressure is, then you're looking to start picking up maybe some calls or however you trade other stocks, because they all move with the Dow. So plan accordingly. Let's take a look at the SPY real quick. S&P 500. S&P 500, we had a nice little break underneath the 50-day moving average, and we closed under it. Here's what I think here. The same basic concept is, you know, you have your 50-day moving average. Come on, move. You have your 50-day moving average, but you pierce that. You have this low candle right here, okay, which acted as some support today, as you can see here, but I do not see it holding. Okay, even though your RSI is at 46, you still have a long way to go to the downside. Okay, a little less selling pressure today, but there was still nice solid selling candles. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this candle, this candle, this candle, and some of this body. So maybe we can maybe we'll get down to this area. If we get lower than that, what I would do to try and figure out what you think, you know, a potential upside is, actually, let me use this one over here. Bottom of that, draw it out to here. Should be pretty simple. Okay, we'll pull this in. So you have the trend line right here. So if we break that trend line to the downside, okay, where this support is, you know, it's going to get ugly. It's definitely going to get ugly, and I'm going to say it's probably going to come down to the 200-day. But what I think is really going to happen is we are going to have, let me get this one out of the way. See this gap right here? It's a little gap right here. Okay, what I'm planning on predicting happen is we're going to come down and break into the 142 area and then channel here. So that's just my thought process. We already pierced the 50-day. There is no support. There is just a little support right here where I was saying before with these two candles. Okay, but keep your eye on this area right here. After this gap is filled, we could start heading up into the into a nice pop to the upside. So keep an eye on that. You know, you're looking at maybe 143 for a gap fill, somewhere in there. It's a few points away from here, but it's all relative. MACD's crossed to the downside. You know, you're only halfway down to the bottom for being oversold. So let's keep an eye on that one. Always have a plan. Let's look at Google. You know, not going to toot my own horn or anything, but you know, Google's doing exactly what we said. You know, exactly what we said. You know, she channeled after she broke the 50, you know, and then she just fell below this double support right here. So what's next for Google? You know, they did have earnings. They did beat, you know, revenue was a little bit light. So, excuse me. So I'm not sure where we go from here yet. I know long term, not long term. I'm saying May we're going to come down and get into this area over here with this gap fill. That's my prediction. Whether I'm right or wrong. Are we going to bounce before then and channel before we redrop? Yes. There's no conviction to the upside. There is nothing saying, holy crap, I'm going to go to 900. You know, there's just nothing there. You know, you've had continuous selling pressure. You broke a trend line to the downside. You know, there's nothing solid or concrete. You have the 200-day sitting over here. You're already under the 50-day. You know, so we're coming down. You know, your RSI is just about oversold. You know, when you get into an oversold position, you bounce up a little bit, okay? And that's what we did here. You know, we bounced up. You know, look here. Look here. Once it got down to 30, you know, all in this area. That's what you have to look at. So we're gonna come down some more. But the general trend now is to the downside. You know, if earnings change it, then it changes it. You know, then you want to look for the upside over here. But I just don't see anybody coming out and buying this aggressively under any circumstances. You know, pre-earnings, they would have pushed it up. That's usually what happens. And then they go higher. So nothing like that was taking place. And this is some nice profit taken. I mean, you're talking 3 million shares when your average is a lot less than that. You know, same with over here. You broke the trend line. And look at how aggressive the selling was. So it's something to keep an eye on. We're going to go lower. But we're going to bounce around a little bit. This gap fill is going to get filled. It's that simple. All gaps get filled. One time or another, they normally do. So with Google, I would say we have a little more downside than a bounce, and then we're going to continue on the path to the downside. All right, that's my prediction. And we've been pretty good so far, but you know, we're only down, let's see, 695, so we're down, you know, about almost 100 from where we started tracking this, so which is fantastic. Let's go into Apple. Apple has been a great short from December 7th when I did a big chart on it and said this is where we're going to go. And you know, if you remember, you saw the chart, you understood what I was saying, and we are totally fulfilling this chart right now. You know, we consolidated, moved to the upside a little bit. You know, there was no aggressive buying over the 50-day to come up and fill this upper gap, so it was an epic fail. Gotta love an epic fail, okay? Then you had the support in this whole area right here. All right, once you came out of this box to the downside or to the upside, you have an issue. You know, either it's going up or it's coming down. It's that simple. I mean, look at these two candles. Huge. So when you fail, the system knows it. The people know it. The people holding these big funds that are holding Apple, they know what's going on, and they say, all right, let me get the hell out of the way and lock up some of my profits from, you know, way back when. Now over here, or wherever they were in. So what's next for Apple? Well, I mean, it's a train wreck right now. You know, you have a gap right here. This gap right here that needs to get filled. That's why it came down and filled. Okay, so where's the next gap on Apple? The next gap that I have set up is 392, and we are almost there. Okay, if we don't bounce off that 392 solid, I'm gonna have to go out to a weekly. If we don't bounce off that 392 solid, then we are absolutely coming down and testing the 300 area. I mean, you have the 200-day right here. Okay, you're so close to filling that gap. If we don't bounce hard off this 200-day moving average, then we're gonna be in some serious trouble. Apple will be in some serious trouble. You know, there will be a time to buy. Is it pre-earnings or is it after earnings? You know, who knows? But you know, it's not something I would hold into earnings. But if this sell-off continues, you know, it's going to be a big buying opportunity if they beat. If they beat, this thing is going to rocket back up, and it's going to be huge, huge profits for everybody. It's just going to fly right back up. I mean, they have some serious cash. So, I mean, where are we going to go before the earnings? I say we're going to mess with the 200-day, and I say the potential is to get down here. But I think we're going to stay right around the 200-day during earnings. And if we beat earnings, we are going to fly to the upside. And if we don't, we're going to fly to the downside. But remember, you know, our RSI is at 26. You know, there's some consolidation that's going to go on. So what I would look at is moving this box over here and assuming something like this is going to go on inside this box. Okay, and the lowest it's going to go is looking at this support here, support, support, support. Okay, and look, it lines right up with the 200-day moving average. So what's next for Apple? It could be a great buying opportunity, or it could be a great shorting opportunity. Okay, the way it looks right now, wait for earnings, see what happens, and play it after. Okay, you need some. You're in a big down channel right now. It's just an ugly down channel, and you're oversold. You're very oversold. So that's even if they don't beat earnings, you know, it still might be they might have made enough money to surprise the street and send it to the upside because it's so oversold and so many people are getting out of this right now. So definitely keep an eye on it and see what's going to happen. I'll follow up with this, and we'll keep this box here for the next video, next couple videos, and see if we fill that box zone, and we'll see if we can move to the upside soon. All right, one more real quick. ISRG, you know, they have some lawsuits going on. There's a mess going on. It's tragedy out there, and you know, they're down $35 after hours. Actually, total like 35. So with the 14 today, so you know, it was $21 or so down after hours, which would take us, you know, down to 71, somewhere in that area, 471, which isn't much. You know, you have the support right here, but you know, they have some issues. You know, what we're looking at right now is the 450 area as support, somewhere in that area. If not, we're going to come back down much lower. You know, tomorrow might be the day that we break into a major downtrend. You know, the uptrend that we had going right here, okay, was already pierced to the downside. We're sitting at a double bottom support here. If we get under that, you know, look out below, and God forbid we break this 200-day at 400, you know, and this is on the weekly, you know, 250 solid support for them. But I don't know how the lawsuits are going. I'm not sure on everything. Let's change this to a daily and see what we're looking at here. So on the daily, you know, as I stated with Apple when I was, what was it, 535, 545, somewhere in that area, you know, when this takes place, okay, when you cross into a death cross, okay, it gets ugly. It gets very ugly, and it tanks. It's just what happens, and you have increased selling, okay. So this thing has a potential to really take a dive, okay, once that death cross happens. Apple's down over 100 points since the death cross, and that death cross took place, let's see, right here, okay. So look what happened. Now it rides the 50 all the way down, okay. So what's going to happen to ISRG? Is it going to be the same thing? Who knows? But this is normally how it goes, okay. When you get into a death cross, it gets ugly. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's just going to crash, and it should crash. You know, you had a little death cross here, but then an event took place, okay, which sent it up to here to consolidate, and the Dow is flying to, you know, an ungodly amount of, you know. So what are we looking at? We're looking at 460 right now on the daily, okay, to get filled up. You have a low opening over here that has not been filled yet, and that's right around that's right at 400. So my target, my goal is 100 points from where we are right now, okay, for ISRG in the next month or two. Okay, we have plenty of room to come down and fill this gap. You get that little gap right here. There's no other gaps in between. There's very little support in between. So, you know, you're under the 200, you're under the 50-day moving average. Now it's time to, you know, come back and relax down at this gap area, the 400 area. All right. That's my take on everything. You know, stop in wallstreetlivechat.com, hang out with us, make some money. We do options, penny stocks. It doesn't matter. If it's moving, we're trading it. All right. Until we talk tomorrow, peace.